touched on is around team building and leadership. And someone that has worked in the F1 space for over 10 years now, you probably hired and work with lots of aspiring marketers and professionals. If you could speak specifically in the F1 space, but also a bit more broadly as well, what kind of characteristics do you look for in a person to be on Rob Bloom's team? What kind of skill set should they have? What kind of elements of their own story do you feel like they should have for you to feel like they can really excel within your team, but then anywhere else as well? I feel like a lot of people here would really appreciate something like that.
Someone once said to me, recruit on values as well as skills. So I guess from a values point of view, first and foremost, I need to see that they want it and they want it badly, because there is that competitive edge. You know, we want to be the best team from a marketing, brand, fan engagement point of view on the grid. And that's a common consensus across my marketing department. Work ethic, you know, I'm looking for that as well. Is someone willing to go above and beyond if needed? Attention to detail, because when you talk about marketing, it includes things like social. Aston Martin is a luxury brand. So, you know, I talked about the brand positioning of inclusive, exclusive, but that is underpinned by human progress and luxury. We are still a luxury brand and we are proudly Aston Martin. So that means the attention to detail is everything for a brand like Aston Martin. From a skills point of view, I really don't care if they've worked in Formula One before or sport. I'd even be more interested if they hadn't, because it brings in fresh thinking into sport, which I'm a massive advocate of. What I'm looking for is someone that has excelled in their niche. So if someone's working, you know, I was at an insurance company before I went to McLaren. It demonstrated that you don't need to work in sport to get a job in sport. I'm looking for someone who's got their belief, who knows what they're all about, has got evidence that they've made a change. And if they've done that through setting up their own content marketing agency from scratch, then that's good enough for me. The other thing, and it's more not so much about advice, but it's a message that we are really looking to get out there to the world right now. You do not have to look like me to work in Formula One. And I still get people saying to me, I'm inspired by what you've just said because I didn't think that I could work in Formula One. And do you know what? It breaks my heart. It really does. And the more that we can do to get out there and break that perception, the better. And if we have to sit on stage every night and get that message out, then that's what we'll do. Because the world is going to be so much better and richer if we bring diversity of thinking into our respective companies, whether that's a Formula One team or not. So, you know, we're trying to break that myth that you have to look like me to work in Formula One. My department has got a good gender split. So I think from a gender point of view, you see a far better split now. Probably not enough in the race team, which is something that we're working on. But I'd love to see people that didn't look like me working Formula One. And you know, and when I come to recruitment, I'm thinking about that. At the same time, I have to make sure that I put the right people in the roles.
I mean, I think that really encapsulates what I feel like this talk is about for myself. Someone that I grew up in West Africa, then I moved here, and then, you know, I just loved marketing, and I didn't realize until I got here that, oh wow, I'm really the only black guy in this office or in this company. I really want to touch on legacy with you for a second, but even for this culture, it's something that I just want to be able to, for people to see, you know, what does it take to work at an F1 company or at a really big fashion brand or whatever. That's kind of what I want to get out of building this, no matter where it ends up. For yourself, we joked about it's kind of a spiritual question, but what do you want your legacy to be, even at F1 or Aston Martin or just in general as well? What do you want to be? What do you want people to take away from what you contributed to this culture?
I would like to think that, you know, I've worked at 2 teams now, which is 20% of the grid. I would like to think that I played my part in taking F1 to the fans and the experience of being a Formula One fan is better through my contribution to the sport. And I think what we were doing at McLaren and other teams were looking at that and saying that's working really well. Let's start to do a bit more. So there was a ripple effect from there. I think what we're doing at Aston, there's a few things that other teams are looking at. So hopefully there is a ripple effect of working at those two teams. But if my legacy is that Rob Bloom was the guy that helped take F1 to the fans and improve fan engagement, wow, what an amazing career in Formula One that would be.
I feel like you're being a bit shy. I feel like there's a few more things also, like in terms of Jessica, who was one of the first female drivers, and you spoke about that a bit more in her driving in Riyadh as well. Can you touch a little bit about that, around what she's been able to do and how that's almost breaking new ground as well?
Yeah, I talked about our Make a Mark ESG strategy. It's based on community, inclusion, and the environment. And yeah, I recruited our ESG leader, Aston Martin, with a very clear brief of we've got a lot of work to do here. And we've done some amazing things, across all of those three areas. We went out to Miami, and the Miami Grand Prix, you do have celebs walking down the paddock. It is still the glamour of F1. What you don't see is about 600 yards away from one of the entrances is Miami Gardens, which is a far less privileged part. And there are things that we've done. For example, we went out there, we took a show car, we took one of our drivers, we took some of the team out there, went to a school, and we used the power of Formula One to inspire, to stay with STEM topics and subjects. Again, to put a message out there that STEM, engineering, even motorsports is available to all. Brought a bunch of those kids into the paddock, showed them an F1 team, how it all operates. And we do that every other week. We're going around the world racing, and we're going out to different schools, communities, and we're doing an amazing job in society. But again, only on the journey, not there yet. There's a load more to come out of the team. So yeah, from I guess it's not just fan engagement. It's deploying the power of Formula One for good.